Hello world, welcome to another episode of Working Musicians. I'm your host, John Thiessen, the president of School of Music Repair and Technology, and today we have a special guest, Mike Lynch. Mike Lynch Music, the solo artist, cover artist extraordinaire, the quintessential working musician. Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Mike, for people that are unfamiliar with your work or where they can find you, where's your normal gigs at? Tell us a little bit about Mike Lynch.
Yeah, I play a lot for Universal. I work for Margaritaville. I play there usually once or twice a week. Play at House of Blues usually Saturday afternoons on the patio. And then I kind of just jump around. You know, I get gigs where I can. I do play close to 6, maybe 5 to 6 shows a week. But it kind of fluctuates. But yeah, I just kind of try to find as many gigs. And at all the places I get into, I seem to lock myself in. And, you know, I try to do all the booking myself as opposed to using an agency or anything like that, just because if I can shake a hand and get into a place, I'd rather do that as opposed to going another route and maybe, you know, somebody takes a cut. So I always like to try to just make a really good first impression, shake hands, be friendly, show up on time, you know, little things like that. It goes a long way, honestly.
Sure.
100%.
Now, Mike, how did you get into music?
Oh, man, how far you want me to go back?
Well, I mean, you had to learn somewhere.
Yeah. All right, so I'll do a couple. So I was 13, and my best 3 friends all got instruments for Christmas. My birthday was in May, so I got a guitar in May. So we all started playing together a little bit. We stunk, but we were learning together. It was cool. Fast forward, 7 years, I moved to Florida, and just kind of like got into the scene. My dad was a musician, so my dad had gigged a little bit back in Philly years and years ago. But yeah, I actually met a guy who was playing at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was like, this guy was incredible. He's playing piano, playing guitar, great voice. And I walked up to him, and I was like, hey, how come you didn't do the solo of What I Got, Sublime? And he was like, you want to come up and do it? You bring your guitar. You can play it next week. And sure enough, I brought a guitar. He plugged me in. I played the solo in that, and him and I played together for like 3-4 years almost. We still play together to this day. But yeah, I kind of got linked with him, and I got over the stage fright. I remember when I first started playing with him, I would play with my back to the stage, and I was constantly nervous, like needed to have a drink before going out. It was just real nerves, but I kind of got over that fear, and then kind of the rest is history. I just started meeting people, shaking hands, getting my own gigs, because him and I went our separate ways. But I did I started booking myself, and I would play anywhere, and it didn't matter what the pay was. I didn't care. I just wanted to be out playing because I found this addiction almost.
Now, Mike, I know you do play with a band, and you also play duets and things like that.
Yeah.
But you're predominantly playing as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Is there something you like more about playing by yourself versus relying on a group of people? Is there pros and cons?
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. I don't think you can really beat playing with other people. Music's supposed to be played with other people, 100%. I found some, my niche is, I use looping pedals. So I'm a one-man band. I hit the guitar and create a drum. I have a bass effect. So I'm filling the gaps basically by myself. But the authenticity, I think, sometimes goes away, especially when it comes to like playing a lead. If you're in a band and everybody's going nuts, and then you get that palm mute and everybody kind of stops, but the lead's still going. You can't get that by yourself. You can't change the rhythm of your loop. You can't turn it up, turn it down. It's like, that's it. That's your set thing. So yeah, I love playing with I have a cajon player I play with a lot. He's a great drummer too. But I play with him a lot. I got two guitar players I use, a couple drummers. I really do like playing solo, and I get the fact that I can kind of make a little bit more money doing it because people are more willing. People see cymbals walk in, they go, oh God, where are we going to put these guys? They're going to be too loud. I totally get that. But me personally, I'm the loudest solo. I need to be heard. I hate playing. I remember playing a hotel gig. I'm not going to name it, but it was just, I was not good playing quietly. I need to project my voice. Sure. I'm not a good enough singer to sing quietly. I was talking about that the other day with my friend. I got to project my voice. I got to perform. I don't want to be playing in a coffee shop, which sure. Oddly enough, the first gig I ever played was a coffee shop.
Sure.
They paid us 3 Heinekens. It was a good gig.
Per member?
No payment. Yeah, it was 12. I think I was 19.
3 Heinekens for the whole.
3 Heinekens each. That's what we got paid. It was a good gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barney's Coffee Shop, Lake Mary. It's closed, but yeah.
As you alluded to, you do a lot of covers.
Yeah.
That's the standard gig.
100%.
as a solo artist, is it tough to fill the shoes of, I know you get you take requests.
Yeah,
It's not all just Jimmy Buffett songs. I mean, you take a plethora of requests. We've talked about many times of the shoes you try to fill.
Yeah.
Somebody yelling Freebird or doing something else. Is it tough as a solo artist to try to fill the shoes and expectations? I understand if you're covering something that is, you're covering a Jack Johnson song, or you're covering something else. But if you are trying to play a full band song as a solo cover artist, is that sometimes tough to comp that?
Well, it's super hard. And the thing is, like, all these cover songs, I've had people over the years, they always say, I really like the way you did your own version of that song. And my rebuttal to that is, I am doing my own version of that because I'm not Tom Petty.
Sure.
So I'm going to do, I'm going to, 9 times out of 10, I'm playing the chords right. I might transpose it down for my voice and drop it down a step or two. But, of course I feel like I'm a little bit of a sellout. Of course I am. I remember being 20 and I'm like, 20-year-old me would beat up 33-year-old me, being like, really, you're playing covers? But, we live in Orlando, and I hate saying it, this is a great music town, but it's maybe not the best for originals. So I found a road to making some money doing this stuff.
Sure.
So I could stop serving tables. I wanted to do this from the first time I heard somebody clap out of a guitar solo I was playing, So I was into it from the very beginning, and I can tell you I was really into writing songs too. I don't think there's a better feeling than sitting in front of your notebook or your laptop or however you like to write, and you start getting into the hook of the song you're creating. Sure. And you're like, holy crap, this sounds really good. Yeah. And you play it over and over again. Like, I'll have the words memorized of an original song in the first 20 minutes of me writing it because I've just done it so many times.
Sure.
But as far as the cover thing, I do pride myself on taking requests. The show's not about me. I don't go into the mindset of a cover show or all the shows I play as like, all right, you guys are going to enjoy everything I do. No, I want to know what you want, not what I want.
Sure.
Do I hate playing some songs? Absolutely. But, the show's not about me. I want to take requests. If I got to play Freebird, I will announce to the crowd. I'll go, hey, there's like 8 guys in that band, but you know what? I'll try, maybe I'll make a joke of it, or maybe I'll do the whole thing,
Sure.
Whatever. It's whatever. What do people really want to hear? It's a town of tourists.
I think it's very interesting because do you feel like, because we've talked many times about, you also are an original artist, but you don't get the vehicle to show them to show them to people as much as the covers and the other based on the gigs you get. Do you find there's a different level of fulfillment there? Do you feel, I think by motivating an audience, regardless if it's a cover or not, that's the real connecting with them. Yeah. But is there a level of, do you ever feel like you're not getting your shot to get your own thing out there? Or, do you wish that you had more of an original voice when you get out there to be able to showcase Mike Lynch music, not Mike Lynch
cover guy? And,
right.
I totally get it. I think the end game is playing a song and people clapping at the end of it. Okay, that's
regardless
what every
of who
artist.
wrote it.
No, exactly.
Yep.
That's what artists do in general. So I think I have a song that's kind of about drinking and hanging out on Sunday. So bam, I'll play that on Sundays every once in a while. Okay. And I remember being heckled one time. I wasn't heckled, but the guy was like, play original. And I got a packed house at a venue, like a legit venue. And I was like, all right, that's what you want, whatever the audience wants. So I remember I played 3 original songs in a row, and like that guy knew I was playing originals because he was walking up to me, but the crowd didn't. And the people were clapping, and that was a cool moment because they didn't know that was a song I wrote. And maybe at the end I'll go, wow, that's an original, but I'm not like, hey, look at me, I write songs. That's never been my thing. I guess at one point I really was into songwriting, and I have so many unfinished songs on a USB drive somewhere. But I do maybe if I was in a different city. I just don't feel as if the platform in Orlando is very good for original music. And I could be wrong. I know there's a lot of good original bands. I don't mean to be talking about them in any way in a negative way. But I found what I do, and I work for Disney and Universal a lot. So what? The people are on vacation. They want to hear these songs that they've heard before. They want to tap their toes and get into a song that they've heard before. If you're at a different venue and it's encouraged, by all means, play some originals. Why not?
I also think it's easy. I think we can quell anybody who would be a skeptic of the cover band artist or the cover artist. Of like, how many gigs did you play last year? 2019.
I think I did 350 317, something like 315, something
So,
like that.
I mean, I think that a lot of these original bands, however they hold, whatever regard they hold themselves
Yeah.
in, they probably did not play over 300 shows last year. So that's why I do think you are the quintessential working musician, because this is your sole form of income.
Yeah.
You do this for a living and you grind it out. But you
Yeah.
also, I keep hearing the word, your professionalism. You're going in there trying to serve the venue, serve the audience. Serving Mike is kind of on the back burner. Your own ego, you're putting your own ego in your back pocket to serve everything else, because that's the gig, and that's the gig you're going to get asked back to and also get paid by. You know?
It's unfortunate, honestly, but you worded it very well. I'm not really going in with the mindset of everybody look at me. It's like, yeah, if I'm on a stage, they're gonna look at me. I totally get that. But I do care about the staff. I did a bunch of live streams during, obviously this pandemic, and half of whatever was given on Venmo, half would go to me, half would go to the staff, which I thought that was cool. Like, whatever. I get to get out of my house, play on a stage. There's nobody in the venue. I get to be loud. But yeah, I do think that there's a certain level of professionalism of going into a gig where it's like, all right, tip your bar. You want to get a couple drinks? Don't leave them 30 cents.
Sure.
They are working as well. As a person that was in the service industry for 10 and a half years, I get it. I get it that I have to make sure show up on time. Like, it's still a job.
Yep.
Like, you can't just roll in at 8 for an 8 o'clock start shift. Like, get on time.
Sure.
I've worked with people, and I won't work with them again because I need you to show up on time. Okay, this is my name. If it's me booking the gig, let's start on time. I was just having this conversation the other day. It was like, professionalism is sometimes it's all right, he's a musician, it's all right. It's like, no, it's not. It's still a job. It's still like, don't get loaded at work. Don't show up late. Don't curse if there's a bunch of kids in the crowd.
Sure.
Like, maybe we hold off a Puddle of Mud song and we don't do that one.
Right.
It's like, I just be smart. I'm not giving advice here, but it's like, I play a lot of gigs because I show up on time, I work hard, I take requests, people like what I do. And there's a million other guys like me. There's no reason I'm not better, or nobody's better than me or better than me. I'm not better than other people. It's not a contest.
Sure.
Go out and play.
Yep.
And put on a good show. And if you want to work more, then go get more gigs.
Now, you mentioned the pandemic. I know the last round of these interviews we did were in the quarantine. So now we're out of quarantine. You are gigging. How has the pandemic affected you? I know we had a couple months of no gigs, but you are back to gigging almost full time.
Yeah.
So how has it affected you as a musician, as somebody who was grinding it out, making their living?
It's been a little different. I think I played Disney Springs like 2-3 weeks ago, and it was like really slow.
Okay.
And then I did get back into work. As soon as Universal opened, I started working at Margaritaville, and everybody's wearing masks. There's a constant announcement going on through the entire city walk being like, keep a 6-foot distance. It was eerie. And you're parking your car and you hear the Jurassic Park music. You're like, and you're, and it's just odd. It's really slow. They're taking your temperature, when you're getting in. And I don't know if you guys know anything about this, but you cannot have a temperature and still have this thing. I don't want to go down that road, but it's like, this is, it's
not
scary.
foolproof.
It's not foolproof. You got to wear a mask. And on breaks I got to wear a mask. And they originally told us we had to sing with masks on. And the first guy that played, he was like, "We can't do this." But yeah, it was strange, And I had a lot of gigs that were duos that immediately turned into solos because they didn't want people on stage close to each other. I lost a lot of gigs. I had gigs that were, I had a wedding I was going to play. I think it's July 31st, so it was, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. Canceled, and then I'm like, all right, so I still have the gig I had that day, because it's just constant, man. And I'm helping doing booking at a place, because we can delve into live stream stuff, but I was doing live streams.
Yeah.
And in my neighborhood of Baldwin Park, and I grew a little bit of a following, so I started playing in my neighborhood, which was nice because I'm close to home. Sure. So I'm helping some places doing booking. And I'm like, which I love, because it's like I have the ability right now to give other people work.
Sure.
And
That's great.
they're given, they're paying, a respectable amount, and I don't want to offer somebody a gig and be like, hey man, I want to get you back into work.
3 Heinekens.
Here's 70.
Here's 3 Heinekens.
Here's 3 Heinekens. I don't want to do that. I want everybody deserves what they're worth. If you think you're worth $1.25 for 4 hours, then you go do that. But I don't particularly want to do that, unless I got my drummer, I got a bunch of people with me, and it's like, hey, we're gonna have fun. We get to hang out together. We'll make a little money.
Right.
But as far as getting back into work, I did jump in rather quickly. I think I have 21 gigs in July, which was, July was kind of the beginning. I was playing a little bit in June and a little bit towards the end of May. But yeah, I'm glad I'm back to work. It's not the same as it was. I do feel more awkward, just being out. But, if I'm on a stage and I got my room, I feel fine.
Sure. We brought out the ruler. I think we're close.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
close
feel
to.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention the live stream. I certainly was going to ask you about it. I feel like you're one of the artists in the area that really adopted that very quickly. You got right into the live stream, and you were testing the waters of that. Now, I know you're not doing it as much because now the gigs are coming back, but how was that experience for you? Again, when I was speaking to other artists in the past, that was the only thing we had a few months ago.
Yeah.
So now that you've gone into the live stream and you've kind of come out the other end, how was the live stream experience for you? Is there any takeaways that you got from it?
How much time you got? All right, so
it's our show.
I think one of the cool things about doing the live streams was as a musician who's been playing out in Orlando, and I'm from New Jersey, so I have family kind of, and my folks are in Tucson, Arizona. So I've never done a live stream, so that was not my thing. And I think I've told you before, I want to be with my crowd.
Yeah.
I want to play for the people here. I don't want to play for the person that's tuning in. So everything changed. So now I'm doing live streams. I'm talking to a phone, and my girlfriend Marie Gilmore was kind of a little bit of the genius behind the operation. I'm the talent, but what we kind of did was we had a moving camera as opposed to just a guy, bottle of whiskey in front of his computer.
Okay.
We gave it a little more personality to it. I had the sun setting behind me, so it was like, oh, cool. Like, this is a cool backdrop.
Setting the scene a little bit.
Which I hope other people saw. Were like, oh, you know what? Let's play by a lake. If we got electricity, bam.
Right.
We started doing the live streams, and people started showing up because I live in this neighborhood, and there's this big grass field right by my place. I'm in the third story of an apartment building. I got a big balcony, so people started showing up. So and it was after like 2 or 3 more people started showing up. There was a lot of people in this field, so then we had to do stuff to cover my ass basically, and be like, hey guys, I had to make an announcement. Hey guys, keep 6 foot distance. It was putting on a concert almost, and we're still doing the live stream.
Yeah, still doing the live stream.
Still have my family and my mom, dad, uncles, all these people chiming in, giving me requests. I'm taking requests from down here. So once the people started showing up down here, now this is what I cared about. Like I immediately transitioned to like, what do you guys want? And then, I had a charity reach out to me, Flag, Frontline Appreciation Group. So they were doing charity work. They were getting donations, and all the money that would go to them, they would go buy meals and give them to hospital workers. So bam, they reach out to me. So now I start promoting Flag. So now I'm this good guy, which I am. I'm a decent guy. All right.
I've always said
but
that.
It was super cool because now I'm getting seen. I'm donating. I gave them over almost $700 of donations via Venmo things to me, and I told them I'd give 10% of every show I play. I'll give you 10% of whatever I make. And I would give more here and there. If I had a really good show, they were getting $50, whatever it may be. I ended up getting on Channel 9 twice. I wasn't asked for this stuff, but it was happening. Orlando Sentinel, Baldwin Park Lifestyle Magazine did a bit about me. It was super cool.
Yeah.
All because of an acoustic guitar, some 2 speakers, some stuff by my feet, and a phone. And that aspect of the live streams was just incredibly humbling and like, wow. And I remember saying this, I don't know if I said it to you, but it was like, I never watched myself play, ever.
Yeah.
I had a fear of it. I have self-confidence. I think I'm a good guitar player. I like my looping and stuff like that, but I have self-doubt I just hit the microphone.
You're an artist.
I have self-doubt, yeah, exactly. It's the pie chart of a musician. It's like, 80% sitting at home practicing, 15% this, or I screwed up. But either way, self-doubt. So I didn't like the way I was singing. I never liked my voice that much, but I started watching myself. I grew got a little more self-confidence.
Got it.
And I started
So through that experience of watching yourself.
I had no choice but to critique myself.
Sure.
Like, all right, maybe
you're watching
don't
the
do
game
that
footage.
one.
You're learning from it.
Yeah. Watching the highlights. But yeah, no, it was the live streams were something I never really wanted to do. But once I was like, hey, Mike, you can't play gigs for 2 months. I'm like, well, I got to play. It's an addiction. I like playing music. I like setting my pedals up and being loud. I want to play leads. I'm bored. So yeah, it turned into like, I guess for lack of a better term, was like, it was kind of my job for a little bit. And, you know, I grew a following in a neighborhood I didn't know I was going to grow a following in. Wow. And it turned into work, you know, and now I'm playing at this place almost every Saturday night, Galleria in Baldwin Park. You know, they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I'll play, give me Saturdays, bam, you know, and pay me what I want. And it's all because of, you know, the Instagram, Facebook live streams and, you know, obviously neighbors, you know, reaching out to me, you know, talking to the bartenders, be like, hey, this guy on his balcony's pretty good. It just, bam, that's how it happened. It was crazy.
I think that's, I'm very glad you're here with us today, Mike, because I think that you can, you know, show the audience not only there's different sides of a working musician, you know, and that's not just a catch-all. I mean, you know, you have a road that you're hoeing, and that's different than a lot of other people's. But you're making money, you're making your sole job and everything. Yeah. Yet at the same time, you made the best out of the quarantine and came out almost better on the other end. Where I know a lot of people were you know, complaining. Yeah. There was a lot of, and just in society today, there's a lot of doom and gloom in these things. But you're a musician that not only lost the gigs, made the best of it, the live stream, found new opportunities through that, and now is back to going back to business as usual.
Back to business as usual.
Yeah, but that experience did make you richer and did grow your following and your support. So I think it's super cool.
And it's funny, man, because it's never like I didn't really, you know, I girlfriend would kill me if I say this, but I'm saying anyway. I didn't really care, man. I cared about going out and playing music in front of people. I don't care about Instagram, Facebook. But over this last like 3 months, I'm like, followers are growing, got more likes. And I thought it was pretty cool. And it's like, it wasn't something I was going for. I'm not a look at me kind of guy. I'm like, well, look at me when I'm playing music in front of you. But like, I'm not, it's just not my personality. I'm you know, probably too humble, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't, you know, like I said,
tell everybody how humble I am, so it's definitely a good thing.
It is. It's
good to be humble, you know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to hear somebody show up to a gig and be like, "Hey, everybody, look at me! I'm great. I'm going to put on the best show you've ever seen." I'm like, "Okay, all right, man. I'll take the check. I don't care about your ego. Leave it at the door. I don't care."
Now, obviously, you stayed busy with music, but I know also a lot of other people found new hobbies or other things to do with their time. Lockdown in their homes and other things. Did you, over the course of the pandemic now, found any new hobbies, any new things that kind of occupied your time?
You know, drinking.
Okay, sure.
I did learn a lot of songs, you know, and I've always been kind of bad about learning songs. I just kind of get a request at a gig, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can probably play that song. Save it. Bam, got it. That's a new song I play. But I did actually like focus on learning songs as opposed to just kind of half-assing it. I learned the song, and like instead of learning just the chord progression, I learned the riff or something like that. Musically, I did a lot of that.
Anything that's, you know,
I started working out a lot.
Okay, I was going to say anything that's not music, because you know, we want the audience to know that Mike's not a one note.
He's a
very complex human being.
Here's the other thing. I'm a huge sports fan too, so it's like the two things I like the most. I can't enjoy. I did miss sports, but I did start working out a lot. Rollerblading, running. I work out like a 12-year-old like boy. So, you know, I just like, you know, give me a ball and I'll call it an activity.
Okay.
But no, honestly, man, it was a lot of just sitting around. You know, I hate acting like I was complacent and bored, but I do the live streams, and then it was just like, let's just hang out with my family and, you know, watch a movie, or like a piece of me enjoyed it. But, you know, a pretty small fraction of me enjoyed it. I probably should have done more, you know, and like, you know, learn how to work, change my oil. Sure. I didn't really do anything, man. I did play a lot of live streams, you know, and I honestly, my relationship grew, you know, as far as the two of us becoming like a team together, which I thought was good for us as in this stage in our relationship. So, I don't know. I probably could have done more. But I was proud of what I did about the live streams. But yeah, my relationship, you know, that's about it. I mean, I really was lazy.
Do you, if you had a crystal ball, you know, I don't think you speak for the entire music industry, but do you have a thought of the state of the music industry and maybe what the future is going to hold? Because, you know, there's a lot of talk. Again, I feel blessed, and I'm sure you do, that you are able to jump back in.
For sure.
I know that many of us, that is not the same paradigm that we're living in right now.
Right, yeah.
But there's a lot of talk of going to, you know, drive-in concerts and, you know, a lot of different things. In your own crystal ball, what do you feel about the current state of music, and do you have any projections of how this is going to affect us on a long-term basis?
Well, unfortunately, in the topic of music and sports and large people gathering, I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit. You know, I had a joke the other day, and in no way, shape, or form do I feel this way, but I'll say it. I'm in better shape than Dave Grohl. Okay, he's got more money in the bank, but guess what? Dave Grohl can't play right now, because if Dave Grohl puts a guitar on, thousands of people show up. I, fortunately, can go out and play. Am I comparing myself to Dave Grohl? Absolutely not. I love him. He's the best living rock star.
No, but as we were talking earlier, I mean, this is the first time that your draw, in some ways, or the success of your band is actually almost a negative to you. You know, you won't be booked because of your draw, or again, you can't.
You're too good.
Can't congregate that. You know that, and it's not always about a level of talent, but just your following. If your following is too large, it's actually now it's a detriment.
Yeah, now you can't play. It stinks, man. I don't know. I hope. You know, over time, I mean, I think the end game is like, I think you got to get a vaccine. We need a Jonas Salk to create something, you know, cure coronavirus. Because people got to get out, man. And I do think music is massively getting hit, especially small-time artists that are just like, you know, not like the third band on the bill of a big band. Like, what the hell are those guys doing? Guys that are driving in a van, you know, across the country with nothing but 3 dudes stuffed up front and all gear in the back. The hell are those guys doing? You know, because they do have a little bit of a draw where they're playing, they're opening for somebody at House of Blues. They're opening, and what the hell are those guys doing? You know, that they're in it. Like, that's the dedication. They are going to do this. They are going to go on tour. You know, that famous, we're going on tour. You know, what the hell? Like, it's the small.
And those guys aren't making the big paycheck.
Yeah, they're not making shit. And sorry, they're not making anything, and they're not getting gigs. And I think the future of music right now is it's a crapshoot. Like, who knows? What are we gonna do? You know, small time solo acts, crappy dudes like me are getting work. And, you know, you get these bands that are just phenomenal, that are just, you know, great songwriting, and, you know, and we can go on forever about how, like, certain music, like, I'm not talking about, like, cookie cutter, you know, G, D, E minor, C, just simple music. I'm talking about good music that's not being heard, and it's not going to be heard for a while because they can't be heard. They don't have a stage. They don't have a piece of wood to stand on and play in front of 100 people or 500 people or, you know, 10,000.
I think you just plagiarized. You gave one of my song chord progressions away. That's
perfect. G, D, E minor, C. We playing some country.
One of my last questions is just the audiences then, since obviously there's less of them that are able to congregate, but have you noticed any difference in the audience themselves? I mean, are they more appreciative? I would think that being so stifled, and I know myself personally and our friends and our band and our family, and, you know, to go out and do something, we almost, I'm sure we all took it for granted for a very long time.
Really
now I think that going out and being able to see an artist, you know, maybe 6 months ago, I might have been at a place and not paid attention, you know, and focused more on what I was doing.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any change? I mean, are they more, they're less in mass, but are they more... they're in appreciative, or they're in fervor or energy, or has the dynamic changed in any way with your audiences?
All right, so I was listening. I got like 2 sides for that. So I will say, I'll go back to live streams for a second. When there was no music out in public, no one, there was just everything shut down. People were watching live streams and actually watching them. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a live stream. I watched for a minute, hit a like, show you them there, appreciate it, bye. But when I was doing live streams, not me and other people cared. People would watch 45 minutes of me straight, you know? I hope there was alcohol involved. But they were caring, people cared. Other side of things are open up again. So, you know, I think this was last week I was playing, and this guy walked up to me. I was in between songs, he had a $5 bill, and he was like, you know, and he threw it in my guitar case. I'm not allowed to solicit tips at certain venues, so I just have an open guitar case, because that's where my guitar goes. But anyway, he drops a $5 in, and he literally goes to me and he goes, man, it's really good to hear live music again. Thanks so much. That guy could have flipped me a dime. I would have been like, thank you. I really appreciate that. Wow. Because it's and that's not the only time that's happened. It's been like the subtle, like, hey dude, thanks man. It's cool to hear something like out in public. You know, it's, you know, I remember when I sat down in a bar and had a beer, and I was like, God, I've done this a lot, but right now it seems more important because
Wow,
it's
yeah,
been
you
3 months
appreciate
since I've done this. So exactly, you appreciate it. So I feel like I do think there's an aspect of people, especially when you get the big bands back, that put the phones down, be in the moment,
Yeah.
enjoy this moment right now because it's a thing. And whether it's some guy playing a cover or some guy pouring his heart and his soul into one of his originals, maybe watch him for 3 minutes. It's not that hard. Pay attention. I get it. You got certain people that aren't music people and they're just there to, oh, it's nice background music. The burger's great. But I do think that, I hopefully, in the future, in the state of music, I think hopefully people will care and be a little more appreciative to it and be more into it as opposed to, oh, it's nice to have something in the background. How about you turn around and you watch this guy care and watch what he's, like you think about somebody like myself who's been playing guitar for 20 years. It's like, I'm not just doing this for fun. I'm not just doing this for my job. I'm doing this because it's who I am. So it's not just me, it's everyone else. These people, this is a thing we do. I didn't plan on it being my career in any way, shape, or form. I just was like, oh, I don't want to serve tables. Oh, I'm making more money playing music. Oh, this is my job now, So it kind of happened accidentally, but it doesn't mean I didn't sit in my room for months upon, years of just staring at a computer, learning songs. I got good because I cared. I wanted to be good.
Sure.
So when you see somebody playing, give a crap, put your hands together. It's not too much. It's not too much to ask to clap. I'm rambling, but it pisses me off. I play enough shows that I don't let it bother me when people don't clap. But deep down inside, I'm like, really? Like, I just crushed that song. Sure. I know I did a good job.
Well, maybe the new world will be appreciating everything a little bit more.
100%, whether it be a burger out in public or, a shot and a beer at a bar or somebody playing Last Dance with Mary Jane, care. It's still something that you didn't have for a while, and don't take it for granted because clearly it can go away.
I think that is a great positive message to send us off on. For working musicians, Mike Lynch. See more of Mike Lynch on his Facebook, Mike Lynch Music, and on Instagram, Mike Lynch Music.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks, John.
Support artists, support local artists, support working musicians. For working musicians, I am John Thiessen, and we will see you down the road.